So good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending another Pre-NAB Cobalt webinar. This is our 2023 Pre-NAB Cobalt webinar. Since we engaged with you since last NAB, lots of things happened for Cobalt. Many new product enhancements, additions, and new products altogether that we worked on for the past 12 months. One big thing that we did last year, a few months ago, was our celebration of our 25th anniversary. So we had the pleasure to celebrate with many of you. We also had the pleasure to be at many in-person events again in the past year, which was a true treat after, all the hiatus without any in-person connectivity with any of you. Another thing that happened in the last few months, we won 4 more awards. So we're now up to about 40 different awards. So we're very proud of all the hard work from engineering and sales and all of you helping us get there as well. Of course, Cobalt designs and manufactures edge devices for live video production and master control. And we for 17 years now, we've been a partner and a founding partner of the Open Gear initiative along with Ross Video. So for the new people here joining us, I just wanted to start that way. We are going to have a session today with Dr. Ciro Noronha, who is our CTO. Cris Garcia is the head of pre-sales engineering for our global channel partners. And so if you haven't had a chance to meet Cris, you're going to get a chance to meet him today. And we can go ahead and get started. Please make sure to stop or to chat or to type anything throughout the session. I'll make sure I'm monitoring everything and bring up to the speakers as we go. Well, we like to start always by featuring a group of our oldest and dear customers. We have probably close to 1,000 customers today. This is just a small version of some of our oldest customers that are always with us every time, almost every month. So these are just a sample to celebrate our global customers. This is also a very impressive list of some of our global truck customers. We actually have many more than this, but we like to, we make this presentation several times and people mention and ask, how come we're not here? So we keep adding more and more customers. So that's some of our customers. And again, this presentation will be available on YouTube, hopefully starting tomorrow. Well, this is, as I said, we provide products for edge live devices for live video production and master control. Our solutions include anywhere from IP, 12G, 6G, all the way down to ST. We're pretty much known to be on the conversion space, multi-viewer, compression, all these areas now. We keep growing, we keep adding more and more product categories to the areas we play in. And we have the Open Gear form factor, and we also on the throwdown MIDI converter space, and we'll be talking about that today because we have some new products in that area. So this is just a summary. So I like to always include this slide on every presentation. So when you're presenting to all your end users, this is a quick, in a nutshell, what Cobalt does and the areas we play in. So this is the agenda for today. We've been enhancing and adding new products and functionality to our SafeLink gateway for the last year. We also have done several updates since we launched INDIGO 2110 at less than NAB a year ago. We've added new functionality and added the support to different platforms. We started with the 9904 UDX4K and then eventually migrated it also to the 9905. So we're going to be talking about the latest here. or the other way around. We started with the 9905 and just recently migrated to the 4K platform. And we are also going to talk about the Sapphire converter new products. A few months ago, we launched the Sapphire dual channel bidirectional H2S S2H, and now we're adding a couple of more new products to this product line. Compression product updates, router updates, which is a brand new product also. We're going to go over the product updates and demos that we're going to have at NAB, and going to be able to show, you know, for the folks who will be able to make it to Vegas. So I'll leave you here with Dr. Ciro Noronha, who gets started, and later on, Cris Garcia will join. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Suzana. All right, so we'll start talking about SafeLink. SafeLink is something to add RIST to legacy devices. So it's a gateway. What it does is receives unprotected streams over UDP or RTP. You add RIST protection of that to that, sends it over the internet, and regenerates the same thing on the other side. What's new here is that we've had this for a while available as an OpenGear card, but now we're going to see it as an AWS instance, as a virtual thing, or a software package. And of course, since it's RIST, it's interoperable with anything else that does RIST. So if you have a RIST device on one side and a SafeLink on the other side, that also works. Next slide, please. Okay, what are the features of SafeLink? It can do up to 8 simultaneous streams. Each stream is a legacy receive and connected to a legacy or RIST transmit. So it's legacy or RIST in, legacy or RIST out. At NAB, you will see one that's doing RIST in both ways. And on the transmit side, you can replicate up to 8 simultaneous destinations, 8 times 8, in fact. On the input, it will support primary backup with automatic switching, which doesn't even have the same content. Frank, can you please mute? Also supports multi-link per stream, so 2 forms of multi-link bonding and seamless switching. What's new about this is we always had simple profile with multi-link and RTTX support, but now we have baseline level, main profile baseline level, and main profile DTLS level. Next slide, please. All right, this is the OpenGear version of that. It's running on Cobalt, so GPC. You see what that you've probably seen that before. It's an OpenGear PC with a 4-slot wide rear I/O. You can see there that it's got 2 Ethernets in the back, and there's a third one in the back plane for OGT and OGX, or OGT and OGX. It's got a solid state disk for boot, and it's about 500 megabits per second when it's doing a SafeLink. Next slide, please. That's new. It's SafeLink as an AWS cloud instances. What you're seeing here is the one that we're going to show at NAB out in the cloud. It looks exactly the same as the OpenGear card, but including dashboard, but it's software running in the cloud. It's basically the same thing. And I see a question, which triggers the automatic main backup? Let me pull it back here. The trigger is loss of stream. So you're receiving from main, it goes away, it goes to backup. And the only configurable thing you have is the time it takes to switch. Next slide, please. So as we always do, I think it's important to do a little review of RIST. RIST simple profile is just a plain vanilla RTP stream with packet recovery using NAC based. So what you have there is packet loss recovery, the NAC based ARQ using RTCP, and multi-link and multicast support. So simple profile is tasked with getting lost packets back. It's efficient in terms of bandwidth because it's use only what you need, and you can tune your trade-off between latency and protection. There's something I say, the more time you have to do a job, the better job you can do. That's true here. If you give it more time, more latency, it can recover more packets. Next slide, please. On top of simple profile, I have main profile that does essentially the following: encryption, in case you need to protect your stream; authentication, in case you need to basically figure out that where you're connecting exactly what you think they are; and tunneling, which is something you do for your IT department. It makes it simple, and you can. The main thing about tunneling, you can open the port on either side, the encoder or the decoder. So it makes you very popular with IT. Next slide. In terms of security, we have RIST in itself, and Cobalt as a member of RIST. We have top-of-line encryption, AES-128 and 256, and it is automatically negotiated at the highest. And authentication is based on certificates. Again, certificates are something that even your bank uses. So when you connect to your bank, you have a certificate involved. So it's all easy web interface and everything. Next slide. Okay, RIST support in Cobalt products. We have this matrix over here. What's new that SafeLink now supports everything and only used to support simple profile. But you see that most Cobalt encoders and decoders support the whole thing all the way to main profile encryption and authentication. So next slide. Now let's go into INDIGO. We've talked about INDIGO before as a shipping product. It's a factory installed option available for the 9904, 9905 processors. Essentially, it adds 2110 inputs and outputs to these processing cards. And you still have the SDI inputs. So you can do any combination of 2110 inputs or SDI inputs, and any combination of 2110 outputs and SDI outputs. So you can use it as a gateway or a native processor or any of that. Next slide. That's just a little diagram. If you're using it in the 9905, you can have 4 up to 3G streams on 2110, or if you're using the 9904, you can have 4K. The main thing here is we support ISO4, IS5, and MOS. So you drop it in a network. And I see a question about PTP. Yes, we absolutely have PTP. In fact, you can't do 2110 without PTP. So they will lock the PTP in the network. And as a matter of fact, it will also, it can, on the input side, you know that your SDI had to be PTP locked. You can, it can sync it for you. It doesn't need to be locked outside. So yes, full support for PTP. And what's something that's coming down in a next release, not quite available yet, but we have 2 gigabit Ethernet, well, 2 10 or 25 gig Ethernets in the device, and we can take PTP from either one of them. So if one, it will do failover, automatically failover, PTP failover from one to the other. Okay, next. So we've had INDIGO before. There's a question about JPEG-XS. The answer is going to be yes, but just hang tight. We're going to talk about JPEG-XS. So what's new about INDIGO is support for 2 audio essences per pack. So you have 16 audio channels on SDI. You now can put it in 2 multicasts in any way you want. We added support for PSF because some customers wanted it. It's interesting that during VidTrans, someone said, oh, PSF is gone. No, sir, it's not. And the customers still need that. And what I just said, built-in frame synchronization for input SDI signals. Next.
Okay. Thanks, Ciro. So I'll describe this product briefly. So this, so Ciro just described basically all the new advancements or the new addition of the INDIGO product line, which sort of is part of this the 9904 EDX 4K platform. as he described, depending on what you have, this product will allow you to have the advantages of having the inbound encapsulation of the 2110 or outbound. But within this product, you actually get to do all the processing, which allows you to manage different rasters, audios, formats, or any other service that you may have that's required for your particular workflow. As you can see with this block diagram, this is a very complete product. So if you look at from the point of ingest all the way through the output, it has many levels and many layers of processing that you can utilize within a single OpenDR card. For example, from the point of ingest, you have a very supporting interface which can accept all your different audios and different video formats, including supporting fiber with an option. So for example, I can do any format from SD all the way through 12G, or I can even do Quad 3G if that's a requirement to conform with the different existing infrastructure of cameras or devices that support that interface, or you can go straight to 12G if that's the requirement. But what's very unique about this is that at every point I can utilize different processing elements within the card to allow me to do my color correction. For example, I can do process my 3D LUTs if I'm using this for on-set or for any particular project. I can also do my HDR, which is part of this product's licensable options. And then I can also further provide additional processing of the signal quality and do all my up-down cross conversion, be able to insert a logo, and do different other processings that might be just default processing elements within this product. But what is very unique about this is the ability to be able to process everything in one card and to be able to swap out different interfaces depending on what the requirements are. And as you can see, there's a long list of different options that can be enabled at any time. Did somebody have a question? No? Okay. And one of those options that we have for this particular platform is the addition of DANTE. This is a relatively new licensable option that we added. Many of our customers have been asking us for a DANTE solution, and it so happens that this particular product has had for some time now the performance power to be able to enable that functionality within the same product that you're processing video. So we went ahead and licensed or made this solution available within this platform. So now with this, we're able to process inbound up to 16 DANTE channels, or we can send them out once we process them, or take them, for example, from an inbound embedded audio channel blocks and take 16 out and route them out to the DANTE interface. So that's one of the options. This is a licensable option, but just one thing that we always want to point out is that if you're going to be working with DANTE, just make sure you let your customers or whoever know that this has to be done at the time of purchase and not post-purchase because of some requirements that need to be enabled in testing to make sure that this is a fully functional system before it goes out the door. Another product that is very similar to the 9904, but this is sort of limited in terms of the format support or the raster capability, but it doesn't mean that it's not capable enough to process up to 4 channels. So this is a 9905 MPX. This one allows us to have 4 independent video channels with embedded audios. And again, it also gives the same functionality to be able to bring in DANTE AES or embedded audios. And you can route those internally and mix and match within the different video channels that are inbound and create a very, very complex, but yet very flexible way to process all your audio and video within a single platform, which is this 9905. And again, similar to the 9904, you have all those different licensable options. Plus, you also get the ability to process the fiber inbound or outbound. And as Ciro mentioned, you can also adapt the INDIGO platform to this. So now you can use this and utilize those 4 baseband video channels to be your outbound or inbound gateway points for the 2110 as well. So again, this is very similar to the 9904, but this is sort of limited to the 3G space. Again, just to be able to give it more flexibility in terms of being able to process multiple video channels with their audios in the same open gear card. And for this particular platform, the audio capability sort of, expands a little more just to give it more capability per path or video path.
Chris,
yep.
Sorry, there was a question. What's
Okay.
the video delay?
For which product?
9905.
So I mean, the video delay in terms of the way it's in relation to the audio, it's whatever. I mean, this has a frame sync, and you can make those adjustments within the frame sync for the delay time. So it really just depends what the level is, but you can make those adjustments. You can do up to, I think Sarah just responded.
Yeah, he said video delay is essentially
one frame. Yeah, I wasn't again the whole raster up to like 3,000 milliseconds, but yeah.
Yeah, you can continue, Chris. I will handle those questions in the chat.
Okay, yeah. So then this is so what we're looking at here is this is the block for the audio element within the 9905. As you can see here, the 4 video instances that we have coming in and going out of the card, you can sort of shuffle the different audio inbound and outbounds of this card. For example, if I have AES, I can route those or mix and match within those 4 different video paths that I have available. But I can also combine the MADI or the DANTE. And for this particular model, the 9905, the DANTE now allows me to process 64 in and out from this card. And that's done because, again, we limited the raster size to 3G, or the format to 3G. And I also have 4 different discrete video paths inside of the card that allow me to share the different audio channels within those 4 channels of video. So now this sort of expands the capability for being able to process DANTE. And I would say for anybody that wants to just strictly focus on the DANTE part, this might be a better solution for that. But again, if you need to, also process 4K, then you're essentially forced to use the 9904 with DANTE option. And also one of the new products that we have, I believe Suzana mentioned that in the beginning, is the Sapphire bidirectional platform. This is a new design, very functional, useful in terms of what it can offer in terms of real customer requirements demand. This as a base platform, we offer the ability to do bidirectional, either 2 HDMI or 2 SDI channels. So we can go in and out, and we also take advantage of some of the licensable options that we offer with the other products. For example, color correction and scaling. The scaling option, that's more so if you want to convert from different frame rates back and forth, you can do that with that. But if you're just doing a basic, for example, 720 to 720 in the same frame rate, there is no requirement for the scaler. But it does give you that functionality and flexibility to have these bidirectional channels in case you mix and match different appliances, changing your workflow within your infrastructure. This is one of those glue products that allows you to make those last minute or drastic changes by simply just adopting this interface between different points of direction of your signal. Okay, Ciro?
Okay, thanks. So that's the first part of JPEG-XS answer. The long answer is that eventually it's going to make its way to Indigo, but what you're going to see coming out first, this is not quite available yet, it'll be available in the summer, is JPEG-XS over ST2110-22 to HDMI for behind the monitor mounting. So it's a little box you put behind the monitor. It will take dual SFP cages for -7, with seamless switching if you need that, and just gives you HDMI. There's one model that's a single stream that gives you both HDMI and SDI, and there's another model that gives you 2 HDMI with no SDI. So little box, and there will be a version of this box that doesn't even have a fan, so very good for quiet environments. If you have a production environment, slap that behind the monitor and you're done. We're designing this thing for wine operation, so it will do 2022-7 Class C. Next. This is what's coming next. This is a bulk conversion. This is also not quite available yet, but will come soon. So it will do the same thing as the previous one, but it's bulk. It's 8 streams to SDI now. So if you need to do a lot of conversions and want a chassis-based solution that you put on a corner or somewhere else, that is the product for you. So we have both the box for behind the monitor and a bulk conversion. This is again coming late summer. Next. Now let's talk about compression. The 9992 encoder, we always put this slide not because it's a new product, but we're always improving, making new things about it. So it's always good to have a reminder. It is either a quad 3G or a single 4K encoder. Has gobs of audio, has basically 16 channels of audio, supports a whole bunch of audio compression schemes, and supports both MPEG-2, AVC, and HEVC. It's got, again, a whole bunch of protocols, as well as ASI ports. Next. So this is the video and audio encoder matrix for all the Cobalt encoder products. So you can see that the 9992, the latest one, checks all the boxes, right? It does all the compression standards, those 420, 422, 8-bit, 10-bit, and it's got ASI. And you can get 4 channels of that. And for audio, you can see also that it's again, the most flexible, checks all the boxes. Goes all the way from MPEG-1 layer 2 to Dolby, and also does linear PCM for low latency. One thing that people need to realize is that if you're doing surround, you can do that on AAC, not just Dolby, but you can do that on AAC. So the way we do surround in that is if you have three stereo licenses, you can configure a surround channel. Next. Well, then we have the decoder. It's it looks the same, and it's essentially the same card, but with different assembly, right? It's a single 4K or dual HD channel. It's got low latency modes. It's got a very, very flexible audio support. It does everything the encoder does, plus Dolby AC4 going all the way to surround, and it's capable of decoding Dolby as well. Otherwise, same set of protocols, same everything. Can do 422, 420, all of that. That's a decoder. Next. Same matrix for the Cobalt decoders. This one is the one that checks all the boxes. Does MPEG-2, 264, 265, 420, 422, 8-bit, 10-bit. And it's got ASI just like everything else. Our older decoder does some of that, but it doesn't do 422, HEVC, or 10-bit. For audio, again, it checks all the boxes, MPEG-1 layer 2, AAC-LC, HEAC, all the Dolbys, including AC4, linear PCM for low latency, and now it decodes Dolby. Next. Well, that's everything I said we've had for a while. So now, what's new about these guys? Those are software platforms, so there is always something new. We added support for RIST main profile no packet deletion. What's no packet deletion? No packet deletion is you don't transmit the no packets, but you put some flags in the stream. So the receiving side can put them back. So that saves bandwidth and without compromising compliance. The 9992 decoder doesn't actually need null packets. You can take a non-compliant stream, but this way you can have the null packets back without having to actually transmit. The other big thing, which I'm going to talk more about during the NAB demos, is the TRL64 Part 1 source adaptation, which is the ability for the encoder, based on feedback from the decoder, to adjust the bit rate based on instantaneous network conditions. It's the old thing, right? If you have a 4 megabit per second link, you can't push a 5 megabit per second string there. Not even RIST can do that because you just don't have the bandwidth. So you figure out the link capacity and you adjust that. So that will be on display at NAB. I'll have a slide later. The final thing that's new is IP output support in the 9992 DEC. With the null packet deletion, the null packets put back if you have that. So you can take any input from RIST, from SRT, from ASI, for all of that, and put out a plain vanilla UDP stream out, as well as decoding with MPTS splitting. Our old 9990 DEC could do that. This now can do that as well, but with the null packet deletion, the null packet insertion back if you're using that. Next. Let's talk about routers. So, what's new about this router? Nothing. We've had this router for a while now. It's you have 12 by 12 and 24 by 12, 24 by 24, 12 square, 24 square. It's an open gear router, and just reminding you that we have that. Supports all kinds of control protocols, and gives you a very nice 12G router that you can put on an open gear chassis, right? It's a 12 gig router and supports all the SDIs from 12 gig to SDI to SD, as well as ASI and MADI. So that's a product that we had and it's shipping. So what's new is the next slide. This is something that's coming. We debated ourselves, are we showing this or not? We decided to give you some notice that that's coming. This is a 4RU 64 square router with a web interface and all the protocols. So you are now going to have a big Cobalt router. That's not open gear. That's a standalone router. 4RU high. It's very skinny on the back. It's very skinny. It's a skinny router because you don't need a lot of volume to do a router. And those are called the wave routers. And I think it applies to the other one too, but the wave routers. And that's going to be available on Q3. And you'll see a line of routers coming out of Cobalt in the next months, as well as very nice control panels that we're not ready to show you yet. But this is like, if you came to this presentation, you know that you heard it here first. Next.
Okay, so I will discuss some of the other products that are sort of relatively new, but I think many of our customers and partners are not too aware of these new products that we have. Sort of we touched on that with the Sapphire bidirectional. So this is our SDI to HDMI conversion open gear card. This particular one, we offer this in a 2-channel configuration. So similar to what I mentioned with the Sapphire, the first one, the bidirectional, this one offers, again, the same, the ability to have, besides the conversion, you can do basic, 1080 to 1080 in the same frame rate, or 720 or 720. But at the moment that you're required to convert the frame rate, then that's when you would require to have the scaling license option enabled on this product. But one of the very unique things about this compared to our competition is that we offer frame sync. So frame sync is by default part of the design of this product. And again, you have the same quality that we offer with the more higher end premium products like the 9904, 9905. But in this particular configuration, we offer just a basic conversion primarily for the interface with some flexibility to color correct or convert the raster at the last minute. Again, this is our 2-channel SDI to HDMI. And we also have, on the other end, we have an HDMI to SDI, also part of the Sapphire sort of conversion family. This product that also provides the same thing of what I just described, the ability to convert the interface to another interface, in this case, HDMI to SDI, with the ability to have the color correction, and you also get by default the frame sync. In this particular one, we also offer this in a 4-channel. So if you need a little more density or more channels to convert in an open gear frame, this allows you to have that capability to be able to have either a 2-channel or 4-channel. And now, as you can see here, I'm showing here the rear I/O for this particular model. These connectors, these HDMI connectors, are the mini HDMI connectors. I know that in some cases, people prefer to use the regular standard Type A connector, but for this configuration, we went with the smaller connector because we wanted to maximize the amount of channels that we could provide to the customer. So this is why we offer this in this particular configuration, compared to what you saw with the Sapphire bidirectional model, which has the Type A connector, which in that case, we're not using the mini HDMI, but we're using the regular HDMI with the mini HDBaNC connectors for that conversion. So just to keep that in reference in case you're considering one of these solutions for any project. And then this is we've been showing this for some time now. This is our BBG 1300 FR. This is a full-blown open gear frame, but in a very small package that's very portable, very capable, that has a lot of the bells and whistles that you would expect from a traditional open gear frame. But in this very small package is very convenient for a lot of customers that have either a fly pack, remote, truck application where they need to utilize the least amount of real estate within the operations. So with this package, we offer redundant power. So there is no additional redundant power that needs to be added to this. It already comes with the purchase of this frame. We also support by default SNMP, which is a very good function if you're operating within a full-blown broadcast center. And then it has a lot of the advanced networking capabilities that you would expect if you want to configure a very complex connection with this frame. And then the flexibility that you get with the front panel, meaning that you can operate this by connecting through dashboard, or you can utilize the front panel if you need to do some basic adjustments to either, setting an IP address or whatever, just to monitor this, whatever card you have inside, you can utilize the front panel for that. What is also very unique about this is that, it's a Cobalt product, but you can simply utilize any open gear product within this enclosure. So that means that if you have an open gear compliant rear I/O or the back plane that can fit into any of the open gear frames, you should then be able to utilize that and use this smaller enclosure to basically have a very portable solution for any application. And if you have, in some cases, a requirement to have multiple of these sitting side by side, we also have the ability to rag mount these, or you can also have a split rear. In some cases, we have products that have the ability to house the same 2 cards in one rear backplane. So that also gives you a certain flexibility to have a little more space, more density when you utilize this product. So again, this is the BBG 1300 FR, and we are already shipping this, and we're certainly using this for any customer that wants to have a very portable solution for just about any application. And again, this is just to illustrate that point. This is an example. For example, we're using this 9905 MPX with the frame. So we've actually used this configuration to perform different sort of processes. For example, when you're on set, on location, if you wanted to grab, for example, a camera's feed, or for example, in this case, the S-Log, and apply the 3D LUTs, then I can utilize this portable frame with the 9905. or if I want to do some level B conversion, I can also utilize this. I don't need the entire, open gear traditional 2RU frame to do that. And also when I'm, for example, at a sporting event near the field or in a very remote location, I can grab a feed from a studio or a truck and also apply those conversions and, bring them into my main processing or to the main program. You can also process BBC LUTs, do whatever you want with this configuration, very portable, again, utilizing one of my very advanced platforms like the 9905, combined with this BBG 1300. Now I have a very efficient, full-blown capable solution that can deliver just about anything within a particular workflow. And again, as I just described of that, it's basically the same product as the 9905. I can have portability and be able to process even MADI or even Dante in some cases, depending on the rear I/O that I have, and just about any format that's applicable to whatever card you have inside of the BBG. Then some other products that we've sort of added to our portfolio now. We have the same traditional BBG throwdown products. In this case, we now offer everything that we've been offering for the fiber mini BBG solutions. Now we have a 12G solution for that. In this particular case, we have this BBG EO 12G that will take fiber to SDI. We have it in the three most popular connectors, ST, LC, FC. With this, I can also do ASI or MADI if needed. And it comes with a 5-year warranty. It's readily available now. And it also has its supported, it's a GUI that allows me to configure this or monitor these small little fiber boxes. So again, this is a new addition to what we already have for 3G. Now it's in the 12G. And then for the opposite, we also have a very similar solution, which is, again, we now take fiber to electrical. So it's the same connector type, just flipping the way the signal travels within this particular throwdown box. Then back to Ciro.
Okay, so Bullpen AB demos. This is stuff that you're going to actually see there. We're going to have a end-to-end 4K demo with a 12G SDI going out in 25 gig network. Obviously, we're going to have a PTP Grandmaster in the network coming out of 12G Internet and then 12G SDI. So you will see a actual 4K signal on 2110 going back and forth. Next. Very similar demo showing quad HD demo. We're going to throw that on a multi-viewer, and you're going to see 4 signals also on a 12 gig Ethernet and coming out on the other side. Something that I don't have a slide for here because it's last minute addition to the demo. We are going to be showing also the INDIGO input to our 9992 encoder in the same network, getting some of the same streams. Next. Okay, so this is that business of automatic rate adaptation in the encoder and a decoder. So I'll have an encoder-decoder pair with a network simulation where I can constrain the bit rate, and that plot in the middle shows the example. So next. So that's first area of operation is a constrained network. So the encoder is actually configured for much higher bit rate, but the simulator is in place. So it figures out where it needs to be and it stays there. Next. At that point, at the end of that, the network is okay. So the encoder figures out, I'm good, the network is good, and then goes to the maximum configured rate. Next. Then I just click a button and I degrade the network, and the encoder figures that out, does a very conservative thing to bring the rate down, and then tries to figure out where it needs to work again. Next. So it's adjusting to the new conditions. This is going to be on display at NAB, and you can click the button and see it happening. Next. SafeLink in the cloud. So I'm going to have a very interesting setup. I have a camera in Champaign, Illinois, talking to, well, connected to, it's actually in my office looking at the street, connected to a 9992 encoder using RIST to send to a SafeLink cloud. SafeLink is just turning it around and sending it back to a physical SafeLink in the show floor, which is now converting it to a standard UDP stream and giving it a 9992 decoder, which is pretending to be a legacy device. It could have received it by itself, but it's just pretending to be a legacy device. Next. So that's the description. Live camera. The SafeLink implements a RIST main profile server, which is the important thing, right? No IT department here had to do anything to any firewalls or open anything. It's all in the cloud. So the SafeLink in the show floor is the one who establishes the connection, but it receives the stream that's showing the power of RIST main profile. Next. And no special configuration. That's what I just said. Next. And back to Suzana. That's it. That's our presentation.
Well, thank you very much, Ciro. On the RIST, I know you showed the 9992 slides and all the little dots on the little table there with everything that supports. I just wanted to mention that the 9992 encoder and decoder series that the series already support RIST simple profile, which was the initial RIST development like 3-4 years ago, which offers the compatibility with basically non-RIST systems using standard RTP as the base protocol. So packet loss recovery, multi-link, and IP multicast support. Those are the things that actually Cobalt won awards for, not only for being the first company to implement it, but the only company that had implemented, and some of this implementations are actually unique, only Cobalt has done so far. And the products also support RIST main profile, which includes tunneling, encryption, authentication, like Ciro mentioned before. And now the latest addition is source adaptation that Ciro went through, which again, we're the first company to implement it. So we're always on the forefront of all the RIST development, of course. Ciro is the head of the activity group, the technical group, and also the president of the marketing side of things. So we're always on that, and we came up with a quick brochure, RIST versus SRT, and that's posted on the RIST.tv website, but also we're going to have the brochure printed and available at the Cobalt booth during the NAB show in case you want to learn more about the differences and a little bit more details about each protocol and what they support and things like that. So just wanted to mention that. Let's see if we have any questions here. Somebody posted something. Well, we are going to be posting this entire recording on YouTube, on the YouTube channel by tomorrow. Also, your sales directors and managers in your regions can send you the set of slides that will also be available. A couple,